Session 567, Deleted Portion. Now, I have a few comments. Do you want a break first? Ralph said, no. They said, all right. The physical assertion of the exercise is good. He lost faith in his physical performance and got out of the habit of asserting himself physically. In the exercise, both will, faith, and assertion come into play in coordinated effort that is made by performance and by achievement. He gives himself that physical achievement, and for the first time can say, I did this or that I set my mind on, and am succeeding. This brings a return of confidence in the body, reawakens the body memory, particularly through ordinary activities. The suggestion is beautifully implied. You do exercises because you expect to succeed at them. It places his mind on physical performance, and this automatically into the future in a positive way, as he achieves in simpler exercises and then goes on. The exercises themselves, they help combat negative suggestions on both of your parts, for you are reassured by any progress. Ruber reacts to the reassurance that you feel. The emphasis in this should always be upon the achievement, and the exercises follow his growing capacities. Let the feeling of trust build up. Do not overdo. The spontaneous desires to go for a walk, for example this evening, are a mark of progress. I suggested a change in the morning ritual, and suggest you both consider this. In other words, the exercises are suggestion, and at this point, the best kind. Ralph asked, that's what I have been wondering about. Shall we forget about other kinds of suggestion for now? They said, it's according to what he is thinking of. Ralph said, I mean the kind he usually gives himself when he lays down for perhaps 15 minutes. They said, his idea of noting down the pleasures or good points of the day should be maintained. He dropped it. A heavy-handed application of suggestion should be avoided, and look carefully for negative suggestions that may be implied on either of your parts. To be relieved of this is half the battle. Ruber's list about what he will do when he is completely well is a good idea, except that as an act of faith you see, he should begin to carry out some of those points now. There will be a beneficial mental and physical carryover from the exercise to other activities, particularly as the trust is built up. You have not been at them for a full week yet. The exercises in the past would not have been effective. You were both lacking the feeling of optimism that would make them work. They must be consistently carried through, however, as a time of day set aside for physical achievement. Now, this shows him that he can act resolutely in the physical world, that he can express himself through his body, that he can be physically assertive. It combats the lack of confidence that had built up. The exaggeration of negative influences was brought about because of the repression. Now, for example, so as not to bother you, Ruber made it a point of conscience to speak to your mother on the phone for you, and not call you. when he did not want to do so. Very seldom was he even aware of his true feelings here, and when he was ashamed of them, and was 10 times nicer to your mother to cover up the feelings from all of you. Besides this, he felt highly inadequate, because he knew that all the time your mother, of course, would have preferred 2 minutes with you to 10 with him. So then he felt unappreciated. You had a menagerie of repressed feelings. This is just one instance. In his own way, he is fond of your mother at the same time, you see, but also terrified of her, because the repressions cause him to exaggerate the hidden fears. When you are frightened or fierce, then the most minute one is exaggerated. Now, you may end the session, take a break, or ask more questions as you prefer. Rob noted, at that break, I had asked that Seth deal with 3 questions tonight, after finishing dictation on his book. 1. The ideas behind Jane's exaggerated response to events, particularly fears. 2. The idea of physical activity on her part instead of suggestion. 3. I was curious to know something about the mechanisms behind Jane's stalled-up movements after she had been quiet for a while. That is, after she had been sitting for, say, half an hour, she was slow in getting up and underway. Rob asked, now, about my question number 3, involving motion. They said, there are many different reasons involved there, depending upon the circumstances, his mental activities, and the habits, mental and physical, built up with the idea of sitting or lying down. Rob said, I was wondering if the same things applied to his getting up in the morning. They said, to some large degree, expectation now is important here, and the fact that he got into the habit of denying impulses toward motion by blocking, often not the impulses so much as the motor response. After sitting and blocking such impulses or responses, then it is only natural that the blockage pattern is set up. Now, suddenly he wants to get up without blockage. They said, when his mind is engrossed as a rule, the blockage is far less, unless he suddenly remembers and thinks, oh, now I will have difficulty getting up, giving into the impulses. Rob noted, to motion. They said, then will automatically work and give him confidence that the impulses can indeed be followed through. Something else applies during the night, but I suggest you break. Now, there are several issues involved here, and we will not get to all of them this evening, but I will return to the subject at the end of dictation. 1 point, an unfortunate connection in Rupert's mind. You got the bed because of your back trouble years ago. Give us time here. Changing the direction of the bed will automatically help matters some, but Rupert does not like it the other way. Rob asked, the conscious knowledge about the bed connections will help though, won't it? They said it should. His reactions to winter time are also involved. Several small issues that add up. The door closed, the additional blankets, the relative lack of fresh air, the disinclination to get up when it is chilly, to record drinks, say, or go to the bathroom, or whatever. That said, there are contradictions there, though. If he wants fresh air, it's bound to be cold because it's winter. They said, there are surface contradictions, not worth exploring. In the summer, for example, with all the windows open, the closed door would not bother him as much. The mattress bothers him on occasion. Now, some of the motor response blockage is continued in sleep. Feeling sore for so long has built up the feeling of awakening in the morning in the same way. Countering gentle, imaginative exercise will help here, not involving getting up per se. However, to see himself dressed and in excellent spirits, serving your breakfast, for example, not necessarily the following morning, but simply to entertain a pleasant image. There are some connections here, with his mother being in bed and in pain, that frightened him, and the negative images deeply repressed of her sitting on the edge of the bed, trying to get up. He automatically projects distaste into your eyes as a spectacle, and is humiliated when you see him trying to get up. That is why he often waits until you are in the other room. This gives him a first defeat for the day. You see, and early. I will give you more at the end of our next session. Have you had enough for tonight? Ralph said, well, I have another question, but I don't know whether to ask it or not. I would like at least a glimpse on it though. They said, and I will tell you if I can deal with it tonight. Ralph said, he's still losing weight. They said, I will take that up with this idea of motion and response. I cannot answer it for you in 5 minutes. But I will tell you that expectation is highly pertinent here on both of your parts. Now, I bid you a fond good evening, and I will go into the weight problem rather thoroughly after dictation. Ralph said, good, thank you very much.